Illustrator Chapter 10, Part C. I neglected to do one thing at the end of this the previous section, and that was to deselect and choose File and Save. And I also neglected to back out of isolation mode, so do that. But when you save, you may see this dialog box come up warning you that there are multiple bristle brush paths with transparencies. Now, this can create a series of a lot of individual vector paths with the brush applied, and sometimes that can lead to issue when you're printing or issues when you're saving. We may have an issue when we save to PDF at the end of this. If we do, we'll fix that. If that doesn't work, you can rasterize the paths with a bristle brush. We can select the paths and choose Object Rasterize, and we'll find out at the end of this lesson whether we're going to need to do that or not. The bristle brush can be used with a graphic tablet. It's interactive if you use a stylus on a tablet. So there's an output that's modeled using the stylus's X and Y axes. It will also respond to pressure, to tilt, to rotation. So if anybody is using a touch screen to do your lessons, you're going to have a little more variation that you can use on your brush. Just be aware of that you have something that those of us using a desktop will not have. It also works well with a bamboo tablet if you are using a separate tablet like that. Now, the next is pattern brushes. And pattern brushes paint with a pattern made up of separate sections or tiles. When you apply a pattern brush to artwork, different tiles of the pattern are applied to different sections of the path, depending on where the section falls, if it's in the middle, if it's at the end, if it's at a corner. And there's lots of interesting patterns brushes that you can choose from, and you can create your own. You can do anything from grass to cityscapes, and there's so many of these available. We're going to apply an existing pattern brush to a path to create the windows on the ship. So we're going to get some portholes here. So next, let's go to View and fit the artboard in the window. And in the Brushes panel, click the panel menu icon, and we're going to show pattern brushes, and you can hide your bristles. And we've got, let's see, Windows is one of ours, and this was saved with the file. We're going to apply the pattern brush and then edit the properties of it. So with the selection tool, oh, not that. I don't know why that one keeps coming up. This is getting annoying. So if you have a similar problem, I'm going to go to Object and I am going to lock Selection because I'm really getting tired of that palm tree giving me a fit. So now that that is locked, I am going to Shift click to pick up the two black paths here. There we go. That are going to be the lines that the windows are going to run along. So we're going to now select the Windows pattern brush and apply that. And we're going to edit those properties for the paths. So deselect by clicking off. Click the bottom path so we can select that and have that change applied. Now, click the Options of Selected Object button at the bottom of the Brushes panel. That's this one. That's going to bring up the dialog box just for this selected option. We're going to select Preview in the Strokes options. Make sure that's selected. And we're going to enlarge these by changing the scale. So from 100%, let's click and drag this up to 110. or type it in. There we go. And we're going to say OK to that. When you edit the brush option of just the selected object, you only see some of the brush options. The Stroke Options dialog box is used to edit the properties of the brush path without updating the corresponding brush. So we didn't make a change to the brush. If we use it again, it's going to look like this. We only applied the change to this selected line. So now you can click off and deselect, and you can go and save again. Next, we're going to create a pattern brush. You can create a pattern brush in several different ways. For a simple pattern for a straight line, you can select whatever content you're using for the pattern and just click the New Brush button. If you're going to do a more complex pattern and apply it to objects with curves and corners, you can select Artwork in the document window to be used in the pattern brush, and then create swatches in the Swatches panel from the artwork that you're using, and even have Illustrator auto-generate the pattern brush corners. So in Illustrator, only the side tiles need to be defined, and Illustrator can automatically generate 4 different types of corners based on that art that's used for the side tile. So there are 4 auto-generated options that will fit the corners perfectly. So we're going to create a pattern brush for the border going around the poster. So let's go View, Pattern Objects. Where's Pattern Objects? There it is, down at the bottom. This should show you a zoomed-in view of the life preserver and the rope off the right edge of the artboard. Now, with the selection tool, you're going to click to select the rope group. Okay? Click the Brushes panel icon to expand the panel, and click on the panel and choose Thumbnail View. So we've got the Brushes panel open, and we want to go to Thumbnail View for this one. Now, we're going to select and make a new brush out of the piece of rope. In the New Brush box, select Pattern Brush, and then say OK. So here is what comes up. The pattern brushes are segmented in the Brushes panel. Each segment corresponds to a pattern tile. We have an outside corner and we have a straight. The side tile is repeated across the line, and a new pattern brush can be made regardless of whether artwork is selected. If you create a pattern brush without having artwork selected, it's assuming that you're going to add artwork by dragging it into the Brushes panel later, or by selecting the artwork from a pattern swatch you created when you edited the brush. You can see that method later. In the pattern brush option, name this brush Border. Now, there's 5 tiles that are available: the start, the side, and the end, plus an outer corner and an inner corner. We have all 5 tiles as buttons below the spacing option in the dialog box. And the tile buttons let you apply different artwork to different parts of the path. You can click a tile button for the tile you want to define, and then you select an auto-generated selection if you can, or use a pattern swatch from the menu that appears. So under the spacing option, click the side tile box. Let's find that one, which is the second one, this one. Okay. The artwork that was originally selected is in the menu that appears, along with None and any pattern swatch that's might be in the swatches panel. Choose Pompadour. In the preview area below the tiles, you'll see how the new artwork affects the path. Choose the side tile box again, and this time go back to original. Click the outer corner box to reveal the menu. That's this one. The outer corner tile has been generated automatically by Illustrator based on the original rope artwork. In the menu, there are 4 types of corners. There's auto-centered, auto-between, which copies the side tile all the way into the corner, and then one copy on each side. The folding elimination is used to stretch them into shape. There's auto-sliced, which is sliced diagonally and pieces come together like a miter joint. And there's auto-overlap. Choose auto-between. That generates the outer corner of any path that the brush will be applied to from the rope. So now you can click OK, and the border brush appears in the brushes panel. So we're only running the sides and the one in the outside corner. In this section next, we're going to apply the border panel brush because we only need that outside corner because we're making a square. And we're going to apply that to the rectangular border around the artwork. When you use drawing tools to apply brushes, you first draw the path with the drawing tool and then select the brush and apply the brush to the path. So if we go up now to View and Fit Artboard in Window, select now the white stroke. I didn't want to go back into isolation mode. I just wanted to select the white stroke. There we go. Make sure, yep, I've got the white one. And in the Tools panel, click the Fill box and change it to None, or you can use the Control panel at the top. With the rectangle selected still, click the Border brush in the Brushes panel. That's this one. There we go. And now you can deselect off to the side.